So today I want to talk about why you shouldn't copy everything that professional footballers do. Now, it seems like common sense that, yo, if I want to become a professional footballer, I have to do everything that professional footballers do. However, today I'm going to talk about the dangers of copying everything that the pros do to an absolute T and what you should do instead. So in this first section, I want to talk about different circumstances. Your circumstances compared to a professional footballer's circumstances are very, very different. Now let's start off with different strengths and weaknesses. You might see a professional footballer do certain drills or work on certain parts of his game that he wants to work on. However, you need to work on different parts of your game. So obviously it doesn't make sense for you to copy them, you know what I'm saying? Let's say you're a winger and you're copying a professional footballer who is also a winger. Let's say he's working on his end product, he's working on his finishing, he's working on cutting inside and shooting, you know what I'm saying? Because he wants to work on that, he really wants to improve that. However, you as a winger, you need to improve your more 1v1 ability. You want to improve, taking on your man, going on the outside. So it doesn't make sense for you to copy that same professional, you understand? So obviously, you compared to other professional footballers, you have different strengths and weaknesses. You have different things that you want to work on. So obviously, it does not make sense to copy everything that they do. You might see a few clips, a few drills on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, and you can take inspiration from that. But if you're copying every single thing, you're never going to get to address the weaknesses or improve the strengths that you need to improve to help your game in the best way possible. Also, you need to factor in different times of years. Now, we all know as professional footballers, or we all know, not professional, so we all know as footballers that, different times of the years require different types of training sessions, you understand? Obviously, we all know off-season, pre-season, that's where you really go hard. That's when you're having, 2-hour training sessions, very intense, getting that fitness up, working on whatever you want to work on, really intense training, every single day. Whereas in season, it's more just maintenance work, you're still working hard, on a day-to-day basis, but it's more just maintenance work. The load of what you're doing, you know what I'm saying, pause, but the training load of what you're doing isn't the same as it would be in the off season. So you might be in season, you're scrolling on your phone. It might be, let's say it's January, it's the middle of the season, scrolling on your phone, and then you might see a professional footballer doing a workout, and then you think to yourself, oh, I'm not working that hard, I need to do 2 training sessions a day. But the thing is, when he was doing those drills, he was in the off season, you know what I'm saying? You might see him doing it in the off season, doing the drills. You see the training montages where he's sweating, he's doing the ladders, he's dribbling through cones, he's shooting out the goals. He's saying that he's training 2 or 3 times every single day. But the thing is, he was in his off season, you know what I'm saying? So if you just see that and be like, yo, if you're in the middle of the season and you see that and you're like, yo, I need to start training 2-3 times a day, you know what I'm saying? Then obviously it's not going to work because it's different times of year. You're in season. You're going to, by the time you get to your game on Saturday or on a Wednesday or whenever day your game is, you're literally just going to burn out. You're going to go into the game tired, which is obviously going to affect your performances, you know what I'm saying? You're going to play worse, which is going to have a domino effect. It's going to lead to you playing on the bench, not getting minutes. Your teammates not believing in you anymore. Your coach is not believing in you anymore. And it's just going to be a domino effect to the point where you're not enjoying your football and you're not playing at your best. As well as this, you need to factor in different positions. Now, if you're a right back, for example, and you're watching clips of, attackers and they're working on their shooting and their dribbling and going 1v1 attacking wise, and you copy that, what are you doing, you know what I'm saying? Because you're never, when are fullbacks ever, at the edge of the box, receiving the ball for a cutback or something, and then having to take a touch and strike? Obviously, there's the odd time where, the fullback comes in from deep at the back post and they go in and score, whether it's a header, whether it's they bring the ball down and they shoot, you know what I'm saying? But that shouldn't be the priority. No matter who you're watching, if you're a right back watching a striker train, watching a professional striker train, and you try to emulate and do the same types of drills as him, you're not training, to your position specific abilities, you know what I'm saying? As a fullback, what do you need to do? You need to work on, 1v1 defending, obviously. Working on your fitness, make sure that you can get up and down that line. Crossing especially, you know what I'm saying? Your first touch, because obviously the ball's going to get pinged into you from crossfield, or working on simply just opening up, simply just taking a touch and opening out. Because obviously, let's say you're a right back, the right centre back is going to give you the ball, and just making sure that your touch out of your body is just crisp every single time, so that you can either play down the line to your winger or inside to your centre mid, you know what I'm saying? So these are the things you need to work on as a fullback. But if you're steady just there watching, attackers do shooting drills, or attackers, doing 1v1 drills where they're attacking, and you're not focusing on your 1v1 defending, then obviously you're not doing position specific things, so your game is not going to get any better. And then the last point I want to make on circumstances is literally that you might be in a different stage of your career compared to a professional. You might be different ages. Maybe you're watching a professional do gym work where they're in their mid 30s, let's say they're 34, 35. Let's say it's Ronaldo when he was 33, 34. You might be watching Ronaldo in the gym and he might be doing something completely different. However, because you're a young player, you don't really know what to do in the gym, you might copy what Ronaldo's doing. But the thing is, you shouldn't be copying what 33-year-old Ronaldo is doing, you know what I'm saying? You should be doing the things that he was doing at your age. Let's say you're 17 or you're 18. You should be doing the things that that he was doing at 17, 18, and not necessarily 33, because there's different sort of types of gym work that you need to do at each stage. So obviously, if you're a young player, you should just be focusing on getting faster, getting stronger, getting more explosive, which is going to require you to do certain exercises, you know what I'm saying? Certain exercises to actually help you achieve those goals. Whereas a 33-year-old, let's say a 33-year-old Ronaldo, he's already done that, you know what I'm saying? He's already done all the exercises to make him more explosive, to make him more faster. At that stage of his career, at 33 years old, it's just about maintenance, you know what I'm saying? It's just about keeping himself fit, keeping himself flexible, you know what I'm saying? And injury prevention, you know what I'm saying? That's his goal. So you might see him, you know, getting out doing a lot of band work, doing a lot of stretching, doing a lot of recovery, you know, the ice baths and all of that. You won't really see Ronaldo doing a lot of, you know, using a lot of heavy weights, doing a lot of explosive movements, doing a lot of plyometrics. You won't typically see that. Maybe in the off season, but more so you won't really see him doing that, because at this stage of his career now, even when it was 33 and especially now at 40, it's all about just recovery, maintenance, flexibility, just injury prevention, just making sure that he can actually stay fit. So let's say his gym sessions aren't going to look the same as you as a young player if you're 16, 17, 18. But if you see him doing his gym work right now at 39, 40 and you just copy him, you're not gonna ultimately see get the best benefits to your game, you know what I'm saying? You need to be doing, you know, explosive movements, plyometrics, doing your sprints, you know, or even working on your upper body, just making sure you have a strong upper body so you can hold people off, so you're not getting shoved off the ball too much, you know what I'm saying? So you're not getting shoved off the ball, so you have a good foundation to where you can shield the ball, where you can get the ball off other people, especially when you're transitioning from, you know, youth teams, from under 15s, under 16s, 18s, into men's football, you know what I'm saying? But if you're just there doing, you know, seeing Ronaldo doing his band work and you're just copying him, doing his injury prevention, doing stretches, ultimately you're not going to get those gains. You're not going to be faster, be more explosive. So you're going to struggle to translate your game from youth level into men's football. And then another reason why you shouldn't always copy professional football is because I see a lot of young players, they buy a lot of useless equipment. Now, what do I mean by this? They might see professionals having, you know, all this fancy equipment, all the special equipment that they get given by their respective clubs. However, as a young player, these are not the fundamentals, you know what I'm saying? If you have the money, great, but in my opinion, these are not the fundamentals. I see people, you know, buying the, you know the altitude mask they used to run on the treadmill. I've seen people use this. I've seen people, you know, with the corner nets, you know, they get the corners, you know, what's it called? It's like a net, and then you got the top right, the top left, the bottom left, the bottom right. Like I said, it can be useful, but it's not necessary, you know what I'm saying? Another one, mannequins, you know. People come to the Astro, bring mannequins, just do free kicks for like 2 hours. Like I said, if you really want to train that, cool. However, in my opinion, you should always stick to the fundamentals as a young player, because you don't want to spend needless money, because most young players don't really have the money to be spending, you know, over £100 on equipment, you know what I'm saying? Especially equipment that's not really that fundamental. As a young player, you should literally just be buying the fundamentals. Good quality footballs, you know, 4 or 5 good quality footballs. If you don't even have the money for that, fair enough. Get one, two or three quality footballs. Get some cones, maybe some ladders. What else do you need? Go to a place where there's a wall. So like, go to an AstroTurf where there's a wall, so you can pass the ball against the wall, work on your first touch, and then go to a place where perhaps they have goals, you know what I'm saying? 5-a-side goals, 7-a-side goals, 9-a-side or 11-a-side goals. That's really all you need. And then opponents obviously, because like I've said before in previous videos, the best way to get better as a footballer is to play with high level quality footballers. So that's really all you need. Footballs, cones, maybe some ladders, a place where there's a wall, some goals, and some opponents. That's really all you need as a young footballer to get better, in my opinion. So when you see the professionals, you know, maybe they got, you know, what's that vest that they wear to track their heart rate, to monitor their heart rate. When you see all of that, it's like, yo, you don't need these as a young player. You know what I'm saying? They get these because they're professionals. They don't have to pay. They get these for free. They get it given to them by the club. Because think about it. Do you really think that all these professionals, when they were coming up, when they were young, when they were 13, 14, 15, do you think that they had all this equipment? No. So it's pretty clear to me to see that, yo, you don't actually need this equipment. You think Neymar had all this equipment, you know, growing up in the favelas? Or we can even take a younger Brazilian. You think that Endrick had all these, you know, different sort of equipments in the favelas? It's like, nah, bro, he just played football. You know what I'm saying? He just played football, played against high level opponents, and just simply just got better from there. It doesn't even have to be a guy from South America, even an English player. You think like all these young English players had all this equipment growing up? They're playing, you know, guys were playing on the streets. Guys were just playing, you know, they were like 10 years old playing against, you know, 16-year-olds. They were just playing against players who would make them better, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, they probably had the occasional, you know, individual training session. Obviously, they were going to their academy training sessions as well. Perhaps some of them were, you know, booking one-to-ones. But ultimately, they didn't have all this equipment, you know what I'm saying? They literally just played football, just played with high level players and got better, along with the occasional individual training session. So that's really all you need as a footballer. So that's why you, as a young footballer, you don't need to emulate, you don't need to copy the professional footballers to a T in order to become a professional footballer. Just literally stick to the fundamentals, stick to the basics, basic equipment. Just know what stage of your career you're in, so you can adjust your training on the pitch, in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Just know what time of year it is as well, what time of the season it is. If it's off season, then you can really go hard. You know what I'm saying? You can really put in the work, put in the hours. If it's the in season, then yo, just focus on more maintenance, just, you know, injury prevention. Obviously, you're still training, keeping sharp, but the workload isn't as heavy as it would be in the off season. You know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to equipment, stick to the fundamentals: footballs, cones, ladders, a place where there's a wall, a place where there's a goal, and then high level opponents. And that's all you need. But that's the bit for today. Hope you enjoyed. I've been JT, and I'm out.